telling y'all all the time, but because I'm reading it through the signs, the people assume I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm reading it astrally from the physical world. I'm using my spiritual sight to see what's going on in the spirit while I'm walking around here like everybody else. Yep. So now that the game is over, everything got to flip. Everybody got to go back to the beginning. The Omega returns to the Alpha as the Alpha evolves into the Omega. So the old becomes new off the turnaround. So now all the work is done. I got to go over these points one by one, all 7 of them. So it's public record because the power is in the word, and the word is mightier than the pen, though the pen may be mightier than the sword, right? So let me go through here and look at some of these comments before I start digging into this. Okay, so first of all, I'm thank y'all for coming and listening to what I'm about to tell y'all. Right, so now the first question was the journey. It's called the hero's journey. The purpose is to collect certain key bytes of information that will activate something in a very particular portion of your DNA. These come from your ancestors understanding the laws of nature and embedding nature with what we call mind, M-I-N-D, bombs that will spark when the DNA is sequenced with a specific level of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Once this happens, the first one that can complete the whole journey gets to reset the system. Now, the hero's journey takes you through different phases of your life. And once you understand the rules of the game, you can't be victimized by it no more. So the rules takes you through the journey. The journey is broke up into parts. Each part, you had an opportunity to A, use your free will to make your way through it, where you develop a skill. Or you can B, follow the current of nature as it moves you based off the circumstances, conditions around you, and your natural innate abilities. So when they ask you is it free will or is it predestined? It's both. For those who have the power of the will to use the will, it's free will. You make your world mold to your understanding or to the desires of your will. But for those who don't have the strength and never develops it, then they become subject to the current and the ebb and flow of nature. That means who's ever ruling, they get caught up in their rulership type. And they get caught up in whatever shenanigans they want to play. I always been denied since the beginning the opportunity to fix it. Nobody ain't want to see me take the test. So I was always pushed off until now. Because I always bumped straight. And the straight bump just want everybody to bump straight. So that means this. The straight bump is you treat people the way you want to be treated, but you don't kiss nobody ass. You give everybody what you owe them, and motherfuckers give you what you earn. Fair exchange ain't never been a robbery, and debt is slavery. If you do the math on that, it clearly tell you what's going on. The better your credit score, the better a slave, right? So when you put the pieces together, the journey forms a map for you when you look back on your life. So they say look to history in order to see the future. What do that mean? That means look back over your life and look at what life was teaching you, separate from what the society was teaching you, and separate from what the parents was teaching you. Because life is going to teach you the lessons from the highest heaven. The lessons of God comes through the lessons of nature. Now, man has a right or the will or the right to use his free will to mold the universe, and he has to use that through the agency of woman. She is the creator and he is the architect, so to speak. So if he can design his heaven on earth and he can find some female who think that he has some value that will allow her, well, who will allow him to have access to a mitochondrial connection separate from his mother. Now, in our original culture, y'all don't remember because y'all walking around with amnesia, not knowing who the fuck you was when we walked this bitch as gods. You being politically correct and the politics ain't correct. So during the course of all of this, we got sacked, right? And this is how I get put in the driver's seat. This is how I get to put in the work to shoot for the top. When they got sacked, it was through Conjure War. The Conjure War falls under my territory. Fourth, the Great Wise One's territory is to govern over the conjure and always take the position of right while maintaining a straight bump. The one who is correct, that means right knowledge, right wisdom, right understanding being applied. If it is out of balance and you are the one deciding that it should be balanced, you are in what you would call the position of right or correct positioning. So this is when you truly overstanding now, aside from the fluff that these diet woke ass woke niggas is running around making y'all buy y'all shit because they don't want to each one teach one like we supposed to do. They trying to get a check. There ain't nothing wrong with them accepting donations. But when you are more interested in making money than helping your people, you in the way to me. I'm doing this shit for nothing. But when I get done, I'll be able to give the people more. So once I discovered that I had to take the journey, now I got to find somebody to take the journey fucking with. This is a problem. Because after doing 16 years in the joint, I couldn't get a date. So I'm not finna have no opportunity to shoot for the throne. Because don't nobody that I feel is qualified find me of interest. Right? So I said, well, maybe I'm in the wrong circles. And I went to everybody and offered my assistance, and they all turned around and closed the door. They ain't want no help. Well, they didn't want my help. That's fine. So what I do, I took my keys, all 360 Earth keys, my 360 Stellar keys, and I went home and sat on my motherfucking couch. Because sooner or later, somebody got to fix the problem. Or we gonna be stuck in the perpetual time loop. Everybody get tired of the time loop because they can't understand why the fuck the misery keep getting worse when the conditions appear on the surface to be getting better. You keep feeling the misery because you running through the time loop. The infinity loop. Don't nobody know how to correct the infinity loop. Well, that falls under my domain. Mathematics, geography, geometry, sacred geometry. All that's under, so I have to go answer for that. So now, all of the people is God intoxicated with some motherfucker named Jesus Christ, and the other half of them is God intoxicated with another nigga they call Muhammad. And they killing each other, ruining the kids, all in the name of Jesus and Muhammad. But why in the fuck is this here? Who need this shit called religion? Where the fuck this shit come from? So I have to examine that and find out its value. Coming to find out, it's a fucking secret code of conjure. Y'all been keeping yourself in prison by participating in the religious conjuring of your ancestors that was called the Voodoo. It teaches you how to bind yourself as if you were a demon and lock yourself into your own mental prison. And so here we go. So finally, some little blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl come ask me if she can help me. Yeah, right. Or so I thought. She been driving this motherfucker to victory when I ain't want to do nothing. I wasn't gonna do shit. She said, hey, your people need you over there. They need you to go and fix this shit because these other motherfuckers is dropping the ball left and right, back and forth. I don't want nothing to do with it. Well, my mama told me I was gonna have to do some work in order to uncover the family wealth. And she was instructed on what to tell me by Mother Margaret. And from that, I would be having to do some work for my family. Then I fucked around and had a son. And now I'm stuck in a 2-ball cane. I can't get out this motherfucking shit unless I do this work. And if I don't do this work, y'all keep suffering in this time loop. That's why they keep telling you in 2012 again. That's what they're talking about. The time loop. The 2012-2021 flip got you stuck in the time loop. You can't really see because you are turned off spiritually because you use somebody's conjure to bind your God self from use. In other words, you casting a spell up on yourself to benefit an oppressive deity. He wants you to be his permanent slave. So he put you in slavery. Some of y'all got comfortable and didn't want to fight your way out or find your way out. I didn't give a fuck. Stay in that motherfucking shit if you want to. This shit's still not hard for me. I could start now and win, lose and win again before half these motherfuckers get started. So, the next thing after the journey, you have to figure out the rules to the game. Well, I like figuring shit out. I am a scientist. But the rules to the game is hidden in what they call myth and mythology, history and metaphysics. So now I got to study all that shit to a level of a competent professor in each one of them areas in order to put the pieces together. It's nothing. I ain't got nothing but time. Did 17 years in the joint putting this shit together through the law books. So I already covered the law part and I did the religion in there. So now I'm shooting for the Melchizedek seat. What the fuck is you talking about, Rod? The Melchizedek seat. If you understood the powers of the earth and the powers of your ancestors in the redemption process, in order to be thrice great, you need 3 seats. The Melchizedek seat is the high priest of earth, not priestess, which is the seat the Pope sit on, but the high priest. But if you're going to be thrice great, you also have to get the Pharaoh seat. The Pharaoh seat is the high ruler or God seat of the earth, meaning that this is the supreme rule of the planet. This shit's starting to sound more difficult as we go along. Now, in order to get the Pharaoh seat, you need to be born in a certain bloodline, from a certain heritage, from a certain culture, through a certain people. Then, not only that, you have to develop your royal traits without nobody telling you what you're doing. You got to figure that shit out. So, I figured it out. And during the course of the journey, you learn human nature. You learn what make people tick. You know what the fuck they thinking before they know what they thinking, because you can read the thought streaming into their head, over top of their head through their crown chakra. But you can't tell them what you see, because they gonna swear up and down you crazy. But you read that shit like the Matrix. It's the streamer. It's the hieroglyphics of life. All this shit is artificial intelligence. There's nothing more artificial or less artificial than anything else. It's all atoms. The only thing is, some things that they call artificial was developed by the agency of man for the destruction of mankind. GMOs of varying different sorts. Well, you got people that's GMO too, and they take on all different shades. But if you don't understand who you is, you'll never recognize them. They be sleeping next to you, eating across from you, working next to you. Look like they regular people, but they GMO. They AI GMO, designed to destroy shit. But they've been deactivated to a level to turn them from this agents of destruction in this 3D matrix into laborers to rebuild and to innovate on the behalf of the varying different wheeled gods. Now, if y'all don't get this, I don't know what to tell you, because I'm putting this shit as simple as possible because kids can understand this, because all it is a superhero story. If they can understand Spider-Man, they can understand this shit. So, the next part of the journey comes in when you got the keys now, which is the knowledge. The knowledge is the keys. There's key points of knowledge that open key places of information up in the psyche in order to integrate your mind into a singularity, which allows you greater control of your life and the world around you. The more you practice, the stronger you get, the greater your control, the greater your life can be, because you can then project your best self into your own future. And you can use the agency of others to help you along the lines, bump into the positions that you need to be. The biggest gift is to help somebody else. Help somebody that don't really need it, because they're slightly off a little bit of help can take them a long way. But we all so selfish, we want everybody to help us. We don't want to help nobody else. We so self-centered, we think that it all revolves around us. In your world, it does. But in the world with yourself, if you want it to include others, then you have to have a more unified mentality. So now you use those bits of knowledge to go about a process of problem resolution. All of these people around the world vexing grievances of the sufferings, but nobody's dealing with their grievances. Government is only designed